Okay, let's reconvene open session. It got really quiet really fast. I don't believe we have any report outs from closed session. Okay. We'll now turn to the invocation by Trustee Lang, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance given by Trustee Milchiker.
Please join me as we give thanks for the many blessings that we enjoy and the hope that such bounty will be shared by those that are less fortunate than us. We particularly pray for those throughout the world that have suffered from terrorist attacks and other misfortunes, that they can find safety, sustenance, and health. I wanted to pay special acknowledgement on the passing of former First Lady Nancy Reagan. President Reagan, of course, holds a very special place in our hearts in this district when, as governor, he dedicated Saddleback Community College. Nancy Reagan truly was a great leader and icon in her own right, and we celebrate her life and mourn her passing. Finally, we're particularly grateful for those that help protect us from harm. Our men and women in all branches of the military, all areas of law enforcement, and other branches of national, state, county, and local government that help improve our lives. To this we say, and to this we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our great nation. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay. We have any requests for public comment? None? Okay. Now turn to board reports. Let's start with Trustee Prendergast.
Not much to report since our last meeting. I went to the Orange County School Board Association dinner on February 24th. Very nice presentation from a social psychologist and what students really are thinking when they're sitting in our classrooms, and how we can better reach them. And it was very, very informative. And I will forward some of the information to you guys when I have an opportunity. I'll let some others speak to the state basketball game that we went to. I'm starting to feel I'm bad luck, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Jay.
I wanted to congratulate Michelle Jackson, the Saddleback College Classified Employee of the Year. Thanks for all her great work in the Theater Arts Department. And I also wanted to congratulate Betty McClellan, Don Johnson, and Steve Gross for the 2015-16 District Services Outstanding Classified Employee of the Year. Thanks for your excellent work. I attended the Saddleback Gala. The event was outstanding. I'd like to thank Michael Hamilton, Don Rickner, Todd Burnett, and the Saddleback Governing Board, and many more for all their hard work in making the gala so successful. Wow, it was really excellent. The talk by the alumni Victorian Lydia Natalou was fascinating. Her story makes us all proud of the South Orange County Community College District and what we can do for students. Also, the Alumni of the Year, Michelle Desolate, founder of the executive director of the Orangutan Land Trust, makes us proud of our alumni also. Her work is exceptional. I attended the Board of Governors meeting of the IVC Foundation March 15th. Coming up this Saturday, April 2nd, is the IVC Celebrating Excellence Foundation Awards Dinner. It starts with a welcome reception and a silent auction at 5 p.m. It's at the Marconi Automotive Museum on Industrial Drive in Tustin. I hope to see you all there at this special event. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Jay. And since I opened a little early, I'll pass over myself right now. Trustee Witt.
Thank you. I'm just going to dovetail what Trustee Jay said because she said it so nicely. And I also attended the gala. I want to thank everyone that was involved. It was a wonderful, wonderful night. I also attended the Saddleback Foundation meeting, which was very informative, and all the hard work all the hard work that was put into it was discussed, and I appreciated that, and I appreciated being able to offer a few suggestions. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Milchiker.
Yes, thank you. I attended the South Orange County Community College District Legislative Task Force monthly meeting, and we discussed several bills that we are tracking. One of is the California Promise Initiative and some of the financial aid bills that provide more assistance for students that demonstrate needs in our community college. Also, we discussed ADA reform. There's an alarming number of ADA lawsuits occurring across the state, actually forcing community colleges to make upgrades that aren't in alignment with the existing facilities transition plans. New legislation would enable the state to collect data and better understand where the problems occur so that the outcomes could be discussed and make it a win-win situation for our colleges and our students. I, too, attended the Saddleback College fundraiser with my husband and the Saddleback College Foundation fundraiser, and we're both looking forward to attending the Irvine Valley College Foundation fundraiser next week. I'm so proud of our two foundations. We actually not only give a lot of financial aid to our students, but we give about $1 million in scholarships to our students every single year. And the first student that spoke at the Saddleback College Foundation was a student that we had given a scholarship to in one of my organizations, and she spoke very eloquently, and I was so happy to see her speaking again at the Saddleback College Foundation event. Just a really wonderful young woman. She's raising money to help the water supply in Uganda, and she's having fundraisers herself to do that and really making a difference in the community. I also attended the Saddleback College study abroad trip to Cuba this past week. It was a spring break trip to Cuba. My son David and I both attended it, and just so everyone knows, it was not at any taxpayer's expense. We paid full price for the trip, even signing up for the classes that were required to be able to take the class so we really could understand the social situation, the economic situation, and the needs and what is really going on in Cuba. I had actually downloaded 10 books on Cuba on my Kindle because there really isn't Wi-Fi there. There really isn't cell phone service there. It's a whole different part of the country. But it really gave our students an opportunity to see what it's like in a whole different part of the country, a different economic system, a different social system. And this is really an historic time to visit Cuba. Things were changing even as we looked at them. And I would love to talk more, but my time is up, so I won't. But what a great opportunity we give to our students. And that's the message I would like to leave with you.
Thank you, Trustee Milchiker. Trustee Lang.
Yes, unfortunately, my other job as a CPA doesn't allow me a whole lot of free time these days, but I still try and keep up on what's happening in our district, the county, and the state. I was pleased to see some of the articles in recent press about articulation with other educational partners, particularly the UCs and the state colleges, to provide for a better and more efficient path towards student degrees and ultimately workforce readiness and employment for our students. At the same time, I also want to acknowledge our college teams for their articulation efforts with our high schools to enable those students to understand how our community colleges may be a better choice for them in many cases. I want to congratulate those employees in our district, echoing the thoughts that you've heard from Trustees Jay and Witt. Congratulations to all of you. Also, although we take great pride in the accomplishments of our forensics and sports teams, there's a whole host of other extracurricular activities that enrich the lives of our students and community members, and particularly those in our senior community. Finally, I wanted to express my appreciation for employees at all levels within our district: faculty, volunteers, classified staff, administration, foundation, and others I'm sure I've failed to mention, for the role that you play in making this one, if not the best, community college district in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Wright.
Thank you very much. I want to quickly brief you on 5 events that I attended. One was the first event. I was privileged to give the TV interview for Channel 6 in Laguna Woods on the 2nd of March. And that's always a good experience, to be interviewed by Ken Goldenberg and to be able to brag a little bit about both IVC and Saddleback College. It's a great honor to be able to do that. And I want to thank Terry Flugerman and her office for always providing slides for us and always helping us as we do this presentation. I wanted to talk for just a few minutes about the men's basketball team. They've had a wonderful season. The Saddleback College men's basketball team headed back to the California Community College Athletic Association State Championship Tournament on March 12th and 13th. And it was held at Los Positas College in Livermore, California. So the Gauchos were 30-1 going there. They had won the 3 regional games here at Saddleback College, where they played Miracosta, Bakersfield, and East Los Angeles, and won all 3 games. And I was privileged to go to all 3 games, and that was a wonderful event. Up at the state tournament, they beat Fresno Community College the first night. That was the same night as the gala was going on, and we were getting the scores at the gala as to what was happening there. They won in overtime, and then on Sunday they played City College of San Francisco. We remember them for football because we played in the state championship against them, and they actually won. So, but I just wanted to thank our young men who participated. Saddleback finished the season 31-2, but even more important than the numbers and so forth and the big plays, our players displayed an extreme poise in the face of a difficult time, taking the loss with grace and never making any excuses. It's something that often goes overlooked in team sports and infrequently gets talked about. Not only were they great players, but they were great guys. So we just want to thank the Saddleback College basketball team. Let me just quickly say I attended the gala and appreciate that. There's been enough said about the gala. I'm looking forward to the gala this weekend at the Irvine Valley College is having that Trustee Jay has already talked about. Let me mention that I attended the Classified Staff Development Day Luncheon and Awards presentation at Newport Dunes, and that was a wonderful event. And we were able to, the names have already been talked about. I just wanted to mention IVC also had an outstanding classified employee, Mark Peterson. He was Irvine Valley College Classified Employee of the Year. He's a senior lab tech in fine arts in the School of Fine Arts. Finally, I did attend the memorial service for Wendy Baker, Dean. She was assistant dean here for 20 years, and it was a wonderful memorial service. She passed away a week ago Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Wright. So my report, I did attend the Saddleback College Foundation dinner. Pleased to, I know how much work went into that dinner, and really thank the staff and everyone involved with the college to pull something like that off. There was, and here we made some money on it, so that's the most important thing. And then this weekend, Glenn will be at your dinner. I'll be there physically, not so much else. I'll be returning from a long journey from New Brunswick Saturday night, but I'll be there. I look forward to that. And then it seems like we're on a collision course athletically with the City College of San Francisco. Well, at some point we'll get their number. TJ, next year we won't. I think you're going to have to stay home. Who knows? Last thing is I just want to say something about the stadium because it came up in the last public session. At least from my perspective, I'm personally very supportive of building a stadium at Saddleback College, and I don't speak for all the trustees, but I think you've seen a sentiment on this board that wants to make it happen. I think what's important is to make sure the process is done correctly and done in a way that sets forth the best possible position for this district and for the community for us to move forward with this project. So I really implore the college and the district to work together on this. And I think this board, more so probably than any other board, even though I haven't been around, is supportive of doing this. And I wanted to make that point very clearly. Having said that, fiscal issues are very important to us as well. We don't have unlimited resources, so we need to do it in a way that makes sense. People who know me, no one's more pro-athletics than I am. Year after I got married, my wife told me she found out I was that much into sports, she may not have gone forward with the marriage. So I'll build the stadium myself if I have to do it. But we need to do it the right way. You all know that. And let's come forward with the right plan to this board soon. Thank you. Chancellor's Student Trustee Mamond. I almost did it again.
This was almost the second time. Thank you. I wanted to say welcome back to my fellow students. Hope you all had a nice break. I was not able to attend very many events this last month because it was a kind of hectic month for us students, midterms and other term papers and stuff like that. However, I was able to attend the gala, and I would like to thank the Saddleback Foundation for putting on such a great gala and really doing their best to help out students that have a financial need and can really use whatever they can take in order to be able to focus on school. Thank you.
Thank you. Chancellor's report.
Thank you. In July, I know it's a few months away, but I thought I'd mention this to you because a press release just came out from the Chancellor's office regarding a new aspect of the Student Success Scorecard. The board's received a scorecard for 2 or 3 years showing the success of the colleges, all the colleges in the state, and then each college gets their own, of success in degrees, certificates, and transfer. But there's been information that's been missing from that, and there's been a discussion going on about that because not all students come to us with the goal of getting having one of those outcomes. There is a group of students who called skills builders, is what they call it now, whose intent is merely to take a few courses that will give them the skills they need to maybe get a promotion at work, maybe get another job that's at a higher level. But it doesn't take another certificate or a degree. Or they're not intending to transfer. So this report that'll be coming, I think we'll get it around in June, and then we're scheduled for a board presentation in July. We'll be hearing more about skills builders and how we rate in that category with the other colleges. I think that's a big step forward in helping the Student Success Scorecard be more meaningful.
Thank you, Chancellor. College presidents reports.
Okay. But as we, Dr. Rockdemar and I like to do is we like to pick a topic for each board meeting. And tonight, be very surprised, it's about our foundations. But from a different perspective, post and pre. First, from Saddleback College, and on behalf of Saddleback College Foundation, would like to thank the Board of Trustees for your tremendous support, Chancellor Portner, in particular, all of our students, faculty, staff, and management that support it greatly. And, of course, we couldn't do it without our wonderful Saddleback College Foundation Board of Governors and our staff, led by Dr. Don Rickner. And, of course, the whole community and all the wonderful donors and their generous support after all these years. The numbers aren't 100% in, but we significantly exceeded last year as far as money raised, attendance, and everything. So as long as we just all forget about the parking situation, it was an extremely successful gala. So thank you very much, and I'm pleased to hand over. Oh, and Saddleback College is very much looking forward to this next week for IVC's gala.
All right. Thank you, Todd. I very much enjoyed the Saddleback Gala and all that was said tonight. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that. And Trustee Jay mentioned in some detail what's coming up this weekend. You might remember last year we were at the Lion Air Museum, and this year we're going to be at the Marconi Auto Museum. Next year I'm not sure what we're going to do because we don't have a train museum to go to. But it should be a lot of fun. If you remember, as a child, slot cars, they do have a slot car track, and I will be challenging everyone who attends at a race or two. Should be a lot of fun. It is an awards event, and so we have a series of secret awards that we're going to give out. Quasi-secret. They know, but we want everybody else to be surprised. So please come, and you'll enjoy a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you both. Association ASG Saddleback College.
Thank you for that. I want to start by wishing our previous advisor, Oda Dipadova, goodbye. Today was her last day at Saddleback, and we're very sad to see her go, but we know that she's going to go on and do great things afterwards. So it's a goodbye for now, but hopefully not a farewell. We also attended the 16th annual gala, and that was an amazing event. We had about 20 volunteers from the student government at Saddleback. We had a great time, and we really enjoyed meeting all these people that make an education at Saddleback a possibility for Lydia, myself, and many other students at Saddleback. We're also planning to have elections coming up on April 18th to 21st. We're planning for next year, and we're focusing on how we can increase and improve our representation of students all across Saddleback and make Saddleback a better college for all students. We also put together a survey on the campus food services in order to get an accurate understanding of what students think about the cafeteria so that we can represent them better during next year. Now, IVC and Saddleback has a great relationship. And we would like the student governments at Saddleback and IVC to have that same great relationship, which is why we're challenging IVC on a dodgeball tournament in April later on. We'll see if they can put up a match. I doubt it. We'll see. And lastly, on April 14th, we're having a day of silence where we're going to speak out against discrimination, the discrimination of the LGBTQ community. And we encourage you all to come out and support that cause, especially if we would like some free food. Thank you.
Thank you. ASG IVC.
Of course, thanks. A little short, hard to reach. Hello, my name is Jonathan Ford. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to speak here today. Thank you, board members, and President Jamal and Chancellor Portner for allowing me to speak here today. I'm representing the student government of Irvine Valley College on behalf of Adam, who couldn't be here today. So first of all, I wanted to announce about our ASG Awareness Day we had on campus a few weeks ago. It was pretty nice on Wednesday, March 2nd. All the members of the student government came out to inform our students at Irvine Valley College about what student government does, so they can begin to play a role if they want to be more engaged with the campus. It was also our candidates rally for our elections, so we got up there and gave fun speeches. It was really nice to be able to conduct that outreach, share updates, and gather student surveys to help understand more of the wants and needs of students. I also want to share some results of our Facilities and Technology Survey, the third of its type that's been given out this year. And it was a pretty good survey. Our responses were varied. Students overwhelmingly identified that we have a strong need for better Wi-Fi, some cafeteria updates on campus, as well as some spaces for relaxation, meditation, and sleep between classes, a factor that would help them to stay on campus when they're outside of classes, take a little nap. It's always nice. Our Budget and Finance Committee has been holding annual budget hearings to be able to understand more of what goes on and become better educated and informed about fiscal responsibilities of the student government. Those have been going very well, looking at mid-year requests as well as requests for the 2016-2017 school year. It was a great process. A lot of good feedback from administrators and faculty. Students are extremely invested in reviewing how student government funds everything, so it's been going very well. We held our ASG elections Tuesday, March 8th and Wednesday, March 9th, and those elections have concluded, and we have a bunch of great students who are going to be taking offices next semester. Our diversity committee has been holding a lot of excellent events with great student turnout, and everything's been very good at Irvine Valley College. So thanks for letting me share today.
Thank you very much. Board requests for reports. Do we have any? Seeing none. Okay. Discussion items. I see that we do not have any discussion items in this evening, so we'll move to the consent calendar. Do trustees have any polls?
5.2.
Okay. 5.2. Trustee Wright. Any others? Okay.
I move the balance of the consent calendar.
Motion by Trustee Prendergast to move the balance of the items. Second by Trustee Lang. Go ahead and do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote. One student advisory yes vote. 5.2 Trustee Wright.
Just a couple of questions or concerns about actually page 1. I don't know if who will answer this. I was looking at this. It says this is adult English as a secondary language beginning, and then it says down here adult English as a second language intermediate, but it looks like it has the same courses as we did for the adult English as second language for beginners.
Yes, Craig Justice, Vice President for Instruction. Our curriculum specialist did make an error in this report. Okay. That second item. There were replacement pages. Kathy Schmeidler, Senate President. Were you prepared to?
I don't have them printed out.
Okay.
But I can get them to you.
Okay.
I
thought that
they're
was
mostly
probably
typographical errors.
I thought it was so.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it just didn't look right. So.
Yeah, I spoke with our curriculum specialist, and she wanted me to tell you that she was mortified that there were more errors in this report than she believes that she had done in her entire 16-year career in total. And she does send her apologies, but I do have the corrected pages for you.
Okay, and the other one's page 3, because I was noticing, for example, for a number of your courses, like Biology 16, it's listed twice.
Yes, that was, again, a typo.
Biology 2, CIM 161, okay.
Yeah, and I have all the corrected pages for you, but I got them too late to print out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So can we then have a motion to approve as corrected?
I so move.
Can we?
Trustee Prendergast.
I don't think we can vote on anything we can't see.
Okay.
So I think this has to be tabled until I move to table this till next month.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think we need a second to have discussion?
Yes. There was a second.
Second.
Terry.
Oh, second by Trustee Witt. Trustee Lang.
Yes, I'd like to understand the ramifications of postponing this.
Turn on your mic.
Just understand the ramifications of postponing this action for a month.
Do you want me to do it?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I'll start, and Dr. Justice can continue. So far, these are being coded for entry into the computer database, and they're coded as if they would be accepted at this meeting. So there'd be a fair amount of I can't say paperwork, but electronic paperwork of secretarial work to go back and recode everything for a different date. And there may be ramifications in terms of catalog publication. I'm not sure.
No, there really shouldn't be. There's enough time to make all the corrections if this were considered at next month's meeting, and the ramifications are quite minimal. So we'll be able to publish the catalog on time and our schedule of classes on time.
Okay, so we have, thank you for that.
Sure.
So we have motion by Trustee Prendergast, second by Trustee Witt to table this item until consideration at next month's board meeting. Any further discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote, one student advisory yes vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to general action items, except for review and study, proposed South Orange County Community College District Emergency Operations Plan.
Vote for review and study.
Oh, did you want to?
Yes, I'll introduce the item. In the event of a major emergency, should a municipality or a county the state of California or the federal government declare a state of emergency, we would be, under certain circumstances, eligible for reimbursement for monies that we have expended. To be eligible for such reimbursement, you must assert that you are in compliance with certain standards. Those include the NIMS standard, the federal standard, which stands for the National Incident Management System, the statewide standard, SEMS, the Standardized Emergency Management System, as well as the command structure, known as the Incident Command System, and the Master Mutual Aid Agreement. This plan asserts our compliance with those standards, and once it's here for review, but once accepted, it will make us eligible for reimbursement under those standards.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the item?
Review and study.
Motion by
Second.
Trustee Prendergast and a second by Trustee Wright. Any discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and...
Trustee Lang.
Trustee Lang, sorry.
Right. So I understand it's just for review and study tonight, but there were a couple of things just that caught my eye in passing on this thing. One was, and I'm not sure who's prepared to speak to this. Is it Dr. Bermucci? Okay. I noticed, for example, on page 9, where we talk about different cities and other organizations, but I was wondering why it only mentioned two particular cities, Mission Viejo and Irvine. Obviously, those are cities in which our two colleges are located. I understand that, but what about all the other cities that are affected and covered in our district? That just seemed unusual to me, I guess, a little bit. And then on page 13, it seemed to me that there probably, where it talks about ensuring continuity of government, I was wondering why there wouldn't be at least some consultation with the Board of Trustees at some point. That seemed to be an omission in my opinion, but perhaps you can speak to those.
Yes, as to the first, I believe it does not rule out agreements with other cities. It just mentions the primary cities in which our campuses are located.
Okay, so this is these are examples.
Examples,
only.
yes.
Okay.
And the second, this document was based on a guide from the state, so it includes that information. So, but since we are just bringing it forth for review and study, if you would like me to bring your question back to the Business Continuity Planning Committee, I'd be glad to do so.
Terrific, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Seeing no... Well, yes, we do have. Trustee Witt.
Yes, I just wanted to ask is, on the first page there it says that we will review this plan on a regular basis. What do you mean by regular? I'm just curious.
It means annually. We have a committee that has been around for a while, a participatory governance committee called the Business Continuity Planning Committee, comprised of the police chiefs, the PIO officers, and representatives from facilities and other areas.
All right, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Now we have no further questions. So discussion. Go ahead and we have a motion.
To accept for review and study.
Don't we have a motion in a second? Yeah. Go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote, one student advisory yes vote. Item passes. Okay, next up, 6.2, recommendation from the South Orange County Community College District to nominate 8 candidates for the CCCT Board of Directors. Trustee Lang.
Yes, so I am recommending that we cast, or I'll make this recommendation for myself perhaps and see how everybody else reacts to it, that we cast one vote and one vote only for Trustee T.J. Prendergast.
Trustee Prendergast.
I appreciate that, and I know the ramifications of what that would do. Personally, as a democracy person, I would actually recommend that we go ahead and try and vote for 7. I really do appreciate the sentiment, but I know some of the other people on the list, and I have no problem voting for them myself. I did want to take this opportunity just to thank all the people that have helped out with getting the word out. I did not do blast emails to all the other districts like we've been receiving from them. I did not expend district resources to mail and have our services working on my campaign to mail those out, and I was too busy to do it myself, so it's been a very covert word-of-mouth campaign at this point. But I do know I have gotten support from some other people on other boards, and I appreciate all the hard work everyone's done on that behalf. So in concurrence with that, if I can put forward some names that I would like to be considered, and if anybody wants to add to those.
Sure.
Number 2, Sue Keith. Number 3, Linda Waugh. Number 4, Lauren Steck. And number 7, Kenneth Brown. And assuming, I'll be abstaining from the vote, but assuming that you'll also vote for me, that's 5 names. If anybody wants to add another couple too, or discuss.
Does anyone have a comment on the names provided by Trustee Prendergast? Trustee Wright.
I had also marked those names too, so TJ, we're on the same page.
Okay. So, any other comments, questions on the item?
Yeah, I've marked the same names as well, along with TJ's name. So I think that would be all the people I would like to vote for. I'd like to keep it to 5 people. Thank you.
Well, okay. So magnanimous of you, even though we were going to send your name forward.
I
and
do appreciate that.
As long as you don't attend the basketball games next year.
Or football.
Or football. Okay, so just to recap, we're putting forth the nominees, the following nominees, I guess. Number 1, Trustee Figueroa. Number 2, excuse me.
Yeah. 2.
Trustee Keith. Trustee Waugh. Trustee Prendergast. Trustee Steck, number 4. And Trustee Brown, who's number 7 on this list.
Correct. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. All right. So that's a motion by Trustee Prendergast, or do you not want to be the nominee?
Okay.
Someone else want to make the motion?
I'll move.
I second that.
Say, motion by Trustee Wright, second by Trustee Milchiker. Any further discussion on the item? Go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous, well, no. 6 trustee yes votes, 1 abstention, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Motion carries. All right. Item 6.3, approve construction management services with Balfour Beatty Construction for the Barranca entrance at IVC, the first IVC building at ATEP and adjacent parking lot, utilities, infrastructure. Does anyone want to speak on this item?
Yes. Before I have Executive Director Brandy Delana come up and talk about the item, I do want to say that there's an addition page that is part of this item. You should have it at your places, and I'll read it for the record. There's a new Exhibit A, which is 1 page, that has the request for proposals for the construction management services on it listed, with the names of the firms, their city, and submitted bys on that page. Then what's designated in the packet as Exhibit A is actually Exhibit B, which is the contract. And we'll be posting that online publicly as well.
Okay.
So with that change, we're going to have Brandy explain the item.
Okay.
Okay, unless there's any questions, this is our typical request for construction management services. And those are related to our larger construction projects, and you note that there are 3 of them in this packet.
I think Trustee Wright had a question.
I had a couple of questions and concerns. I appreciate the information by providing this, because when I first read this, I was wanting to know who the 4 firms were that had put forth. The question that I have, it was Balfour Beatty. Had we used them before?
We have not.
Have we talked to people who've used them?
Yes, we have. On a couple different occasions, actually. There are members of our pool, and when they were first assigned to our pool, we performed reference checks.
Okay.
And then in this instance, when we determined that they were best value for the district, we also called references.
Now, who did you contact? I mean, what kind of...
I honestly don't know which of the references were contacted. I wasn't on that evaluation
Because I don't remember ever using them, so that's why I'm asking.
That's correct. We never have.
Okay. Because this is a pretty large contract, and I want to make sure we've done it the right way. So
we do our best to make sure we've done it the right way. Would you like me to go into any level of detail on the way we?
Well, the other thing was, were they the low bid?
No.
Okay.
So I can go into a greater detail on the way we perform evaluations if you're interested.
I understand how you do it.
Okay.
I didn't have a question about that. I just wanted to make sure we had done it right and that.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Prendergast.
I'd like to move the item and then speak to the motion.
Motion by Trustee Prendergast to move the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Milchiker. Trustee Prendergast.
Maybe just to alleviate some of Trustee Wright's concerns. Balfour Beatty built Beckman High School, and it's still standing. So I'm good with it.
Whew.
Okay. Any further discussion on the item? Hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. Motion carries. Thank you, Brandy. Okay, 6.4 Saddleback College Sciences Building change order. Do we have someone's going to speak to this change?
There's no changes to this one. It's a change order for the Sciences project in the amount of $665,512 for audiovisual.
Okay, Trustee Lang. Do you have a question of?
Just a comment about the item, I guess.
Well, then we need a motion.
Sure.
I so move.
Motion by Trustee Wright.
Can I second that?
I'll give it to Trustee Jay on the second. Trustee Lang.
Okay. So one of the things I noticed and appreciated actually was it looks like we've added a column that I hadn't seen before. Maybe it's been there and I just missed it. That indicates who requested the particular change. And is that now going to be standard operating procedure going forward, or has that always been here?
We've added categories to the column that help clarify why the request exists. So that's a little bit of a change. The column's always been there, but we have added categories for clarification.
Okay. And then I guess my other question is, are there so we have allocated a certain amount of basic aid to cover the project, and I'm judging that this project is still within the amount that has been allocated.
Correct.
Okay, and okay, so I guess where I'm going with this is if we got into an instance where, for example, the colleges all of a sudden decided that they wanted to make a bunch of changes to the contract that hadn't been there to start with, and maybe it wasn't basic aid money, that might be an instance where it comes out of the college budget rather than out of basic aid funds.
Yes, and that is what has happened relative to the audiovisual funds in this case.
Okay. So that's what I wasn't certain of. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions on the item? I think we have a motion and a second. Go ahead and cast your vote. We have unanimous trustee yes vote, student advisory yes vote. Okay, now on 6.5, Saddleback College Technology and Applied Science Swing Space Project change order. Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons.
Yes. This item is for an amount of $292,451 with Solpac Construction, and it's for several changes, both for unforeseen conditions and district and college requested project enhancements. And you can see on the exhibit what those are for.
Okay. Have any questions for Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons? Nope. Someone want to move the item?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Wright. Second by Trustee Jay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. 6.6, equipment and cloud software as a service, SaaS. Approve the use of CMAS contract. Vice Chancellor Bramucci, is he going to speak on this item?
Actually, it's for contract, and what we're asking the board is to approve the use of a listed CMAS contract, 315703035B, for equipment and cloud software as a service from Barracuda Networks through Meridian IT, Inc. And the total cost for this project would not exceed $500,000 and is a contingent upon verification of availability of funds for each purchase. So it's approving the use of a CMAS contract.
Okay. Is your mic on? It seems a little faint. Okay. All righty.
Okay.
Any questions for Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons? No?
I move the item.
Motion by Trustee Prendergast. Second by Trustee Jay. Any further questions or discussions on the item? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. Okay, 6.7, an HP contract for Hewlett Packard.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Better.
Okay, I'll get a little closer. This is very similar to the previous item, except what we're recommending is that we use master price agreements awarded by the state of Minnesota and approved for use in the state of California through participating addendums. And this is for contracting with Hewlett Packard Enterprise for servers and storage, and HP Incorporated for the purchase of computers, laptops, and tablets, not to exceed $2.5 million.
Can you explain to me why we need to go through the state of Minnesota contract to get HP into our district?
I'm going to ask Brandy, because we've been dealing a lot with a lot of these master's agreements in CMAS, to explain that. We have to legally get the board approval to use these master agreements, but you can explain why we go through other states to get the best price.
So similar to the instance that you just approved with the CMAS contract, a NASPO-WISCO contract is a multiple award contract that's been it's gone through the public contract code requirements for advertising and bid, and a best value has been determined by another agency. We get to do what's called piggyback on those kind of contracts, and we only will consider contracts that have been approved by the state of California and have met our state of California public contract code requirements. We don't blindly use this agreement. When we evaluate whether or not an agreement is a good value for the district, we do it by evaluating other contracts that are available for the same kinds of equipment and services. So this contract was evaluated to be a best value for the district.
Okay, but just maybe it's a dumb question. Bring me up to speed on the Minnesota element. Why is that needed in this context?
They were the originators of the agreement. So they went through the advertising and the evaluation process, and then the state of California reviewed their process and determined it to be compliant with state of California needs. And then we piggyback on that contract.
And that's beneficial because it saves us...
It saves us more money. Yes, absolutely. So this contract was compared with perhaps another CMAS contract, or what would be available to us if we were to purchase through Amazon. I mean, we use a lot of variables, different ways to evaluate if it's best value.
Boy, these contractors know how to know this chess game, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yes,
wow.
they do.
Now I see how it works. Okay. Thank you. Well, I think we've got some... Oh.
That's fine. Either order is fine. I just have another question.
Motion by... Do you have a question for Brandy, though?
Mm-hmm.
Well, motion by Trustee Lang. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Milchiker, and then question from Trustee Prendergast.
So it could be either for Dr. Bermucci or so it mentions in the exhibits and in the description that it's for laptops, desktops, or tablets and servers. Are the servers here, or are they in Minnesota?
They would be here. A couple of years ago, by consensus, we made a switch from Dell as the primary vendor for those desktops to HP. We got better machines at less cost.
Perfect.
Hey, Trustee Wright?
My question was have we gone to, because I remember we had Dell before, so we have gone to HP. Okay, that was my question too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Trustees? Okay, Student Trustee Mamond.
So we have moved to HP on other parts of the district. So far I've seen Dell at Saddleback, but where else have we used HP so far yet, and how has it performed? Because from personal experience and stuff like that, I've always heard that Dell has been better than HP.
When the technology services directors compared these specifications that they could receive per unit pricing, it was a pretty clear win for HP in this go-around. They've been primarily purchasing desktops, but they are also purchasing servers and what are called thin clients. That is small machines that interface where the heavy lifting is done back in the server room by servers. That is a common thing in higher education now because you can get economies of scale. You can re-image those desktops or those machines without having to go all over campus. So you can typically get about half of the maintenance cost of that recouped using the thin clients. So to answer your question, desktop computers, server computers, and what are called thin client computers.
No, I understand that. I'm saying what I'm asking is you mentioned that we've already transitioned some of our systems to the HP systems. How has that compared so far to how our experience with Dell before?
That, I think you would have to ask the campus technology services directors. That would be Anthony Maciel at Saddleback and Bruce Hagan at IVC. They're the ones in the position to directly compare the performance of the former machines and the new machines.
Have they given recommendations when?
We have a committee, the district-wide technology committee, that looks at the performance of that, and it was reviewed recently, and members were satisfied with the lower cost and the quality of the new computers.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Good questions. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Looks like no further discussion or questions. Go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. Okay, 6.8, authorization to join California Public Entity Pension Stabilization Trust for STRS and PERS, pension rate increase. Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons.
Okay, so at our last meeting in February, the board received information regarding the PERS and STRS dramatic rate increases that were occurring over the next several years, and which would be a great negative impact to the district and colleges' operating budgets. And the board approved a funding plan for the liability that resulted from the increased pension rates, estimated at $39.6 million. During the discussion, when we went over that board item, Trustee Lang had asked that we take a look at where we would invest that money so that we can get a greater rate of return, even though it was a more short-term investment. So we did research that, and what you have before you tonight is a recommendation for approval of the California Public Entity Pension Stabilization Trust Agreement, which is in Exhibit A, and the member agreement for the purposes of joining PST and investing the funds for the PERS and STRS rate increases assigned from basic aid at the last meeting. What this trust does is operate very similarly to the Futurist Other Post-Employment Plan, which we already participate in for the OPEB Trust. You're very familiar with that. The PST team includes Keenan and Associates as the program coordinator and also as the administrator, and Benefits Trust as a discretionary trustee, and Morgan Stanley as the registered investment advisor. And the fees are 30 basis points on the trust assets, which is shared proportionally among all members. We expect that we would have approximately, the goal is to have a 4.5% target rate of return operating on a fixed income portfolio. So you have before you a recommendation to join the trust.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the item?
So move.
Motion by Trustee Milchiker, second by Trustee Lang. Any questions or discussion on the item? Trustee Prendergast.
So just to clarify, not seeing our name specifically, this isn't a joint trust, is it, with other schools, or
There are
getting clarification on that?
It would have other districts that would join this trust as well. At the time we were preparing this board item, there are 15 other community college districts that were taking this item to their boards as well.
But
for
it's
the same purpose.
So they'll be able to do a joint investment, so to speak, on behalf of all the districts, but we still have our segmented.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Just to make sure that we're not lumping in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Are these local districts?
They're all over the state of California, actually.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, go ahead and vote on the item. We have unanimous trustee yes vote, student advisory yes vote. Motion carries. Okay, 6.9, board policy revisions. Have anyone speaking to this?
Just 5 board policies for your review and study.
Okay. Motion by Trustee Lang to move acceptance for review and study. Looks like second from Trustee Prendergast. I know I have a question or comment, but Trustee Wright, go ahead.
My question was I couldn't find one of them. Board policy 5610.1, student fees. I couldn't find that. I didn't see it there.
I don't think it's in there.
It's not in there.
Looks like it's not in my packet either.
Thank you.
All right. So what we'll do is we will have it be, let me just make sure I'm counting this right, 4 board policies for review and study, with 56.1.1 coming next time for review and study with the new packet.
I move to amend the motion.
Motion by Trustee Prendergast to amend the motion, and a second by Trustee Lang. And I had just a brief comment. I know I got some responses today from the administration regarding the questions I had on employment of relatives. I know that you sent me some material. I'm going to take a look at it. That I guess there was a previous Trustee Vice Chancellor Begay. I guess there was a report requested in 2010. Was this a board report?
Yes, it was a relatively extensive board report.
And was it focused on anti-nepotism? Were there concerns about it at the time?
This issue's been around for a while, and so we went back and we reviewed the issue. You'll see from the attachment on that report from 2010, the report itself was 15 pages long, so we went into some pretty deep detail. The conclusion of the report was we have about 1.7% of our permanent employees are related, and 2.2% of the temporary employees may have some relatives working in the district. If we did this similar report, now that report took months to compile, because on that particular issue, we've been doing it manually since the board policy was done. But you'll see also on the monthly report with the Board of Trustees, you'll see the notations on the bottom of the different pages as you go through and approve them, that we try to be as transparent as humanly possible on those board items. So only recently with Workday have we been able to have the electronic ability to actually do a report on the tip of our fingers, so to speak. But we can compile the report, but it would take a couple months. But there's no reason to think that that percentage rate would be any significantly different from 2010.
So the 1.7 you said for full-time employees,
it's called permanent employees.
Permanent
so
employees.
Anytime the Board of Trustees
relatively low. Is that comparable to other districts in terms of permanent employees that have family relatives employed at the district? Also, is that standard, or is that the norm? Or
I don't know if there's any data kept on that. I don't know if any district that goes to the extreme that we do in putting notations in the bottom of the different board agenda items. So I think from that perspective, we're much more diligent in making certain that the board knows what's going on, who's related to who when we present the items. But I couldn't tell you that. I could run a survey, but I doubt if many districts actually track this as detailed as we do.
Okay. Trustee Prendergast.
Just to clarify, this is only a concern if there's a supervisory or chain of command. There's nothing against spouses working in the district as professors, so to speak, right? So this is only if there's a supervisory role involved. And
well, what about the hiring process, TJ? Not just supervisory, but the actual hiring.
But I'm saying it's not anything against spouses working in the district together as at the same level.
Yes,
I guess is what I'm saying.
The law says that a spouse cannot supervise their spouse within the department or anything like that. So that's what the law says. So with that aside, we're careful and diligent to watch that, but we also don't include them on hiring committees and so on. So with that though, we can't legally keep relatives from applying for jobs in the district as well. So it's a double-edged sword, but really we're looking at 1.7% of the population has permanent employees working in the district right now.
So I just had a quick follow-up, and then the Chancellor has a question. But when you say we don't include them in the hiring committee, is that just our district policy, or is that something in the statute that is there's an anti-nepotism clause, or is that just we've just decided that a family member couldn't be part of a hiring committee if another family member was applying for that position? Is that just a district policy?
We have a district policy. It's very rigid when it comes to hiring, and part of that policy is called conflict of interest. We require every single person that participates on the search committee to sign off on that, and it's pretty specific as to what it gets into. So that's not only just relatives, but it also includes other types of relationships. We expect full disclosure on the committees.
Okay, thank you. Chancellor Portner.
Yes, I was just going to mention that keeping records on the number of employees who are related is a remnant of an old board in this district. There's no requirement to disclose that information. We had past board members who were keenly interested in that information. They thought there was nepotism occurring in the district and wanted to learn more about it, and so we began the practice of putting that little asterisk that you'll see next to new hires' names, and that's just continued and continued over the years. It's not because I don't know of any current board member that's asked questions about it.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion, right? And a second? We do not.
As amended.
Motion as amended, that's right. That's an amended motion, and we do have a second. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote, student advisory yes vote. Okay. So now we're at 6.10, several board policy revisions. This is for except for discussion and approval. Vice Chancellor I keep wanting to call you trustee tonight. I don't know why.
Okay.
Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons.
So we have 9 board policies here for discussion and approval, although I do want to point out that 2 we have revised since the last board meeting based on the discussion that we had. So those 2 board policies that we have made a revision on, and I'll point out to you what the revisions are 2100, which is delegation of authority to the Chancellor, as well as 3200, which is contracts, I'm going to say purchasing and contracts. That was what it is. So let's go to the first one. This is BP 2100. And if you go to the second page, third paragraph, number 3, we changed it to, it read before under $150,000. We changed it back to $100,000 based on the discussion. Okay.
So are we on number 3 under the item?
Yes. On the second page, 202, section 3.
Did you mean to say under 100 or over 100,000?
Under 100.
I think it says over.
The first in parentheses, I guess it's in two places. That was 150. Now it reads back to 100.
Oh, with the emergency situations, the
Right.
chancellor can go
Yes.
over 100,000. I see.
That
Got
that's
it.
okay. So that change was made. Then, very similarly, on BP 3200 purchasing and contracts,
Where are you?
BP 3200, and it's the item called a second BP purchasing and contracts. Let me see if I can find it. Under contract awards, what we did here was instead of referring to a number in both places, we referred to the other BP. So that way we're only changing it one time if we were to make a change to the dollar amount. That way it's not two places. We have to remember to do that. So that's what we did there. So we struck out the dollar amount completely and referred back to BP 2100, delegation of authority.
I see. Okay.
So those were the two changes that we made.
Trustee Prendergast.
All right, so I have to rewind the tape here in my head, and it's not working. I don't remember our discussion leading to asking you to change it back to $100,000. I thought we left off understanding why it needed to be $150,000. Am I remembering that incorrectly?
I think you are, but I'll let them speak to it.
I mean, we didn't vote on it, obviously, because it was just for review and study, but I remember the discussion, but I don't remember leaving off that we were unhappy with the $150,000 when we discussed inflation and things of that nature and the increase in the cost of contracts. So that's what I remember leaving it off, as understanding why it needed to be $150,000. I don't remember us wanting it to be lowered. And I
remember bringing up the issue and understanding why we were changing it to the higher limit. I was concerned about, not, rubber stamping contracts. And there's a lot of gamesmanship that's already being played with multiple contracts under the limitation that concerns me already. So I was frankly in favor of the lower limit rather than the higher limit.
So I can chime in. I was in favor of the lower limit. Would have been. It didn't come up. Hasn't come up for a vote for acceptance, but the administration is welcome to bring it forward again in the future if you would like.
Right, and so we did recommend changing it back, but it's discretion of the board.
All right, move approval.
Okay, motion by Trustee Prendergast. Second by Trustee Wright. Any further questions on the item? Go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. 6.11, authorization of payment to Trustee Absent from our previous board meeting.
Move. Second.
Motion, by Trustee Lang, second by Trustee Milchiker. Any further discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. We have 6 trustee yes votes, 1 abstention, and 1 student advisory yes vote. 6.12, academic personnel actions.
Move approval.
Motion, no changes in the item, according to Vice Chancellor Begay. Motion by Trustee Milchiker to move the item. Second by Trustee Jay. No further discussion. Go ahead. Excuse me. Trustee Wright.
The one question I had, I was looking at the qualifications of the person, Catherine, and I have a hard time with her name, being hired at IBC as a mathematics instructor. Famiglietta. I was noticing that she has a BS, an MA, and a PhD, which is wonderful, but it's all in civil engineering.
Kathy?
It
Sorry,
is,
who's responding? Dr. Schmeidler or Dr. Begay?
No, at this point, I'd be happy to defer to Dr. Schmeidler and President Rockmore.
Dr. Schmeidler.
Hi. I wasn't part of this hiring committee, but our process is the discipline experts. Right. And so someone with a PhD in civil engineering has to have sufficient math to teach math.
I know. But
so
I'm just
ordinarily in hiring faculty members, we defer to the discipline experts.
Okay. I was just concerned because all our degrees are in civil engineering, and I've always felt that people in a particular should have it in that particular discipline they're teaching in because of the advanced courses they take.
Well, in my experience, people in a field like civil engineering have probably taken a great deal of advanced mathematics.
Taken up through differential equations, yes, and sometimes beyond, but just a concern.
The other thing I'd like to point out is that, at least in the IVC structure, that we have within one school, mathematics and engineering, and we have a great deal of crossover between the two departments within the school, much to the benefit of both departments. Well, so, in fact, I was just part of a conversation about that this morning.
I just saw that, and I just wanted to raise the question.
It's a very reasonable question, but I would defer to the discipline experts, and I certainly would be loath to override them.
If you want, I can get back with you with more detail on this, but if you note that since she's been a lecturer at UCI.
I saw that. I saw where she taught math before, but
right.
I just know that sometimes it's nice to have advanced courses in math,
yes,
which you would take for a master's or a PhD program. Because I know she's had the basics, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Trustee Mamon.
Do you know what courses she would be teaching where we may run into this sort of problem? Because if it's lower level courses, we may not have a problem at all.
I don't know what's required for civil engineering, but I know for other engineering, my son's in an engineering program right now, and even for his master's degree, both of his master's degrees in engineering, he took courses well beyond anything that would be allowed to be taught at a community college.
They would all take through differential equations.
Actually, beyond that.
Okay, depends on the discipline.
Linear algebra. They take.
It depends on the discipline.
They take a great deal of math.
I understand Trustee Wright's concern about this, but that's why I'm kind of wondering, do we know if she's going to be teaching these higher math classes where maybe we would prefer somebody that's a higher, maybe they got their MA in math or a PhD in math to teach these courses? Or do you think she'll be teaching maybe courses that aren't as advanced and where this wouldn't really be a concern?
Again, I don't know the details of this of this person's curriculum vitae, but the math courses the lower division math courses that a community college is permitted to teach, she would have taken courses at least 3 or 4 levels above that.
Thank you.
In this case, the full-time faculty member being recommended to the Board of Trustees for approval should be eligible to teach any and all courses in mathematics. The recommendation is not a limited scope. So it's a matter of if the board approves this person be eligible to teach all courses. So they had 3 different degrees in the process. They are in civil engineering. I can provide more information at a later date, or we could actually, if there's a desire by the board as a whole to remove one item, we can do that and bring it back next month.
I think Trustee Wright has a question. Follow up.
Well, I mean, I know where she's had 20 years teaching remedial and lower division university level math classes. I know, I saw that. So
yes,
I'm sure she must have had the experience. I was just bringing it up to see if someone had a...
Okay. Trustee Prendergast.
Just to wrap this up and kill the dead horse, do we offer anything higher than vector calculus at IVC? Then I think she's probably okay, since that's what she's taught.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table here. Any questions, further questions on the item? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. We have a unanimous trustee yes vote, student advisory yes vote. Okay, 6.13, classified personnel actions.
Move approval.
Motion by Trustee Milchiker. Oh, she said no. He nodded, but no changes.
No changes.
Second by Trustee Lang. Any questions on the item? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Unanimous. Trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. Motion carries. 6.14, 2015-2016 full-time faculty hiring amendment, Irvine Valley College. Any updates on the item from David Bouguet?
No, sir. On these particular items, this item and the following one, if you recall, the Board of Trustees was presented in October with a list of faculty for recruitment. So what happens here is for the year 2015-16, the current year that we're in, there's a recommendation from the college president at Irvine Valley College to amend the list with this change as recommended here. You'll see something very similar to the next item for the following year.
Okay. I have a motion.
I so move.
Motion by Trustee Witt. Second by Trustee Prendergast. Any questions on the item? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. Have unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. 6.15 full-time faculty hiring amendment, Saddleback College. Dr. Bouguet.
This is very similar, except this is amending the following year's hiring. So the ones that we're hiring currently will start in the fall of this next year. So that these 4 positions would be part of that list.
Okay. Motion by Trustee Lang and a second by Trustee Wright to move the item. Any questions? Trustees? Nope. Go ahead and vote. Trustee J. Unanimous trustee yes vote. Student advisory yes vote. Okay. Reports. 7.1 Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College speakers. Any discussion on that? 7.2 Basic Aid report.
Just note that there are changes since February, and they're noted in the item.
Thank you. 7.3 Monthly Financial Status Report. Okay. OPEB Trust Fund. Quarterly, 7.5 Quarterly Investment Report. And then 7.6 Facilities Plan Status Report. Trustee Lang.
Yes, appreciated the extensive update, and just had a few questions about that. One was we indicate that the space vacated within the existing Math Sciences Building will remain inactive until funds are available for a separate capital outlay project. And just trying to get an idea, when do we have any idea when this might occur?
The Math Science Engineering Building, or Science Math Building, is scheduled for what's called an initial project proposal to the State Chancellor's Office this year. If the State Chancellor's Office begins refunding projects based on bond approval at the state level, then this project would be available for state funding not this year, next year, but the following year. And so if that were to occur, then we would line up our matching funds in order to move this project forward. However, track record over the last 7 years would lead us to believe that that may not occur, and then that would mean that this project would take place after that 3-year window I just talked about.
Okay. And then I think the next item, sort of going back to comments that Trustee Jamal made on item 6, I was interested in hearing a little bit more about the college's plan for raising the $17.5 million for their match on the athletic stadium.
I would like to interject a second. We are going to be bringing some information back to the board. This project is underway as far as we're getting proposals back from contractors on this project. They're due back on April 19th, I believe. Once we have more information, we'll be bringing back a report on the stadium project with a lot more detail for the board to understand.
So at the next meeting, there's going to be some kind of...
An upcoming meeting.
Okay,
An upcoming
meeting. Excuse me.
We'd like to bring it at the next meeting, but we're not sure yet, depending on what information that we receive and how much discussion needs to take place and analysis beyond that. Lots of times projects come in over budget, and what needs to happen is some analysis done by the architect as well, so that the college can be fully informed in making recommendations for decisions.
Okay.
It more than likely will not be April.
Okay. At a future board meeting, we will be updated
May.
further.
Because we have our basic aid cycle underway, and so we want to be able to fold any options in prior to the board making any recommendations and decisions on approving basic aid. So we do want to have that information to the board prior to that.
Okay. Thank you. Any further?
Yes. I wanted to just chat briefly, have you chat maybe briefly about the Gateway project, so that I understand what's going on with that. We've allocated very little basic aid, apparently, at this point to that project. You've indicated that there's it's apparently not a very good chance we're going to get state money for this project. And you've indicated that in a number of different areas, where you've indicated that despite maybe having increased our match on these things, we're still what you term less competitive. And maybe you could help me understand
I'd
what's
be happy
happening.
to. So the 3-year window that I was talking about for the Math Sciences Building is actually a 2-year window for the Gateway project. That's in what's called the final project proposal at the state. It's been in that state status since 2007. Every year we roll it over and we continue to wait for the possibility of state funding. While that time frame has passed, we've gone from eligible projects at points between 125 to 140. Now, the projects that are being proposed for the first round of distribution at the state bond release are ranging from 150 to 170. This project is currently sitting at about 126. So you can see that it's far below what's currently identified as funded projects on the negative side. On the positive side, the first year of funding distribution, any college that's identified for funding will not be considered in the second year. So that means those 170 to 150 projects, they're off the table, and the next round of projects would be considered. Colleges become more competitive recognizing what those points are. So people are going to do everything they can, including us, to raise our points. And in fact, I think it's April 25th, we're meeting with both colleges and our consultant to do everything we can to increase our points from 126. If it follows suit, although there isn't really a suit after 7 years, but we could expect that the range for the next round of distribution would fall from about probably 160 to maybe 130, and you can see at 126, we're right on the brink. So we want to do everything we can to bring our points into that range, but there's no guarantee.
Right. So I guess in just understanding how this assignment of points process works, does it make any difference if that a project has been listed for, in this case, 8 or 9 years? Could it easily get bumped by some project that some other district brings maybe the first time around, that for some reason this group feels is a more compelling project? How does all that work?
It's very objective, and there are 4 categories that points are assigned to for a total of 200 points, with 50 points assigned to each of 4 categories. One of those categories is the match, the local match. So the thing that we did when we talk about increasing is we went from a 30% local match to a 50% local match and got every one of those 50 points. Other ways to obtain points are through demonstrating a need. So that would mean enrollment increases versus facilities improvements. Every time we improve a facility and add it to our space inventory, such as the Sciences Project, we have more space on campus. If it goes more space, but not equally more students, our points decrease because we're demonstrating less of a need.
And presumably that is something that's hurt us in recent years?
Not yet. Because of the way the process runs, we will in October report the Sciences Building on our space inventory. If we are to be considered in this next round of distribution, and we are to be considered in this next round of distribution and are successful, then yay. If not, not much chance in the future of obtaining state funding for a while.
And again, longevity on the list has really very little bearing?
No, it's very objective based on those points.
Let me see. I think there might have been one other
Thank you for asking that. I would be so happy to go into greater detail with you if you ever wanted to meet and discuss more.
Okay. I think that would be interesting. Actually, I think the entire board would probably find this of interest. Yeah, okay. It had to do with the current enrollment issue that you mentioned later under the Fine Arts Project at IVC.
Same issue, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Wright.
One quick question. I know that item 4 for Saddleback College, the Tech and Applied Science Swing Space project, have all the deficiencies been corrected for that project?
No, there's been a newly discovered deficiency, actually. When we first completed construction, the one deficiency that remained was related to the desire for added security in the use of that equipment. The user's desire to have not only equipment shutoffs, but a major shutoff in different places on the wall that could be tripped. Upon operation, it was discovered that the exhaust system for the machine that will rev the engine quickly so the engine can be evaluated by a computer, the exhaust system for that whole system was inadequate. And so we have tested the error, and we can, with fans, clear the room of the concern. However, we're still taking an additional step. That would be a temporary measure while we improve the exhaust at this machine.
So how soon will it be corrected then?
We're working diligently now. Today I spoke with an architect who thinks there might be an immediate fix. It depends on how long it would take us to procure equipment. Typically, equipment procurement is 4 to 6 weeks. It just depends on where it's being bought from.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to reports from the administration and governance groups. Saddleback College Academic Senate.
Good evening, President Jamal, members of the Board of Trustees, and Chancellor Portner. The Senate is working on wrapping up items for the school year, including new faculty hiring, enrollment management, and block scheduling. We're continuing to receive input on Canvas as a potential LMS for the college. No decision has been made yet. The Academic Senate Executive Board elections will be held in mid-April, and we have 7 weeks of instruction left in the semester. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Faculty Association.
Good afternoon. Good evening. I have no report for tonight. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. IVC Academic Senate.
Good evening, all. We also have 7 weeks of instruction left in our semester. Funny thing about that, we have many things going on our campus in addition to wrapping up the year. We're about to embark on elections for our new Senate officers, and I'm not sure what's going on because I don't run those elections. In the next few weeks, we'll be holding a cultural competency summit, and I hope you've all gotten information about that. I'm wearing a shirt that actually says "Explore Your Inner Cell," and on the back it says "Celebrate Diversity." And so if you want to see my back after the meeting, I'm more than happy to share.
I thought it was an advertisement for Verizon at first.
No, it's an advertisement for cell biology.
Just kidding.
But I thought it would be appropriate for this evening. The Cultural Competency Summit is quite different from anything that we've offered before, and I think if you attend, I think you'll find it very interesting. Please do RSVP because we need to know how much meals, and there are limited seats. So it's completely free, but we need to have the RSVPs. We also, I'm sure you've been hearing a great deal, I know you've been hearing a great deal about our Anapesi grant, and I just want to confirm that we have a very active group developing projects and developing the various, it's a multi-tentacled project, this ANAPESI grant. And so we have a whole lot of people, faculty members, staff members, administrators, involved in the various parts of this project, including looking forward to the opening of our new liberal arts building, which I want to point out is abbreviated LAB, and therefore ought to be on the science side of campus. But they didn't ask me. In any case, there's going to be a space in that building set aside as a learning center and tutoring center, funded at least in part by this ANAPESI grant. But a lot of exciting things going on there, as well as a whole bunch of interrelated things with student equity, basic skills, and so forth. So we have a whole host of initiatives going on that are now coming together, and instead of being in their own little pockets, are really coming together in a more coherent story, which I think is very, very exciting and growing even more exciting. In terms of the Senate, the State Academic Senate plenary is coming up in the next few weeks, and this coming weekend is the Area D meeting for us to prepare for that state plenary. So many of us will be going to that. And as far as Canvas is concerned, which is, for those of you who haven't been aware of it, is the a potential replacement for Blackboard, our Academic Senate has accepted the recommendation of our Distance Education Task Force to support moving towards Canvas, but of course that has to go through the rest of the governance at the college as well as at the district. Thank you.
Thank you. You are ubiquitous. You are everywhere. Vice Chancellor of Technology.
Congratulations and thanks to Dan Johnson and Steve Gross from District IT, who are sharing this year in the 2015-16 District Services Outstanding Classified Employees of the Year for their work on the Workday HR and Finance deployment.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor of Human Resources.
Human Resources, we went to Camp Pendleton just recently for the 2016 Career Expo and helped train people how to interview and build resumes. Beginning tomorrow night, there'll be a small group of us going up to Los Rios Community College District to learn about their interest-based alliance program, which does deal with collective bargaining. And with that group would be Mark Blethen, President-elect for the Faculty Association, Scott Green, President of CSEA, Jan Mastrangelo, the Chief Job Steward for CSEA, Teddy Lorch, Executive Director of Human Resources, and myself. So that should be the 3 intense days of learning how somebody else does it, and they have a very different culture. So we're going to study what they do and see if it can apply here. The other one is last week, Wednesday, I was involved in a bit of creative storytelling with Classified Staff Development Day that involves swords, axes, and helmets. I had a staff, just to make it clear. And thanks to Karen, another enjoyable part of the day was I have now become an expert, along with Scott Green. We sampled guacamole dip. And so we used a 10-point scale of perfection with 5 different data gathering points, and we judged every single one of them. And the teams were named different colors, and we named the winning team. And only afterwards did I find out that the winning team's name was Green, and Scott Green was with me, but I'm certain there is no relationship. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor of Business Services.
Starting at our next board meeting, we're going to be adding a little addition to the facilities report that we just were discussing earlier, and we're going to highlight one project each month with a little bit more information, including some renderings or photographs or whatever might be warranted for that particular project. So we're going to try to add a little bit more flavor to the project so it might be more interesting to the board and more real. So we're going to add that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we're going to be having a special board meeting ahead of the closed session in May. We're going to do a presentation on ATEP for 1 hour. And this is to be an update on a variety of different aspects of ATEP. So we're looking forward to being able to talk about ATEP. Thank you.
Thank you. IVC Classified Senate.
Hi, thank you. Right now we're in the middle of our nomination and election process for upcoming senators and officers for classified Senate, the kind of midterm elections, I guess you could say. The other thing, our professional development committee arranged for 16 participants to go to the Irvine Chamber of Commerce Women of Excellence Conference. It was a really great conference. It was a half-day conference. And what was wonderful is that we actually got people who don't normally get out and are able to participate in these kind of conferences. And we were able to get them out and exposed to different networks around the area. And everybody had a very good reaction to being able to go and asked when they can go again next year. So we're definitely planning ahead to make sure we get them there. It was IVC's turn to kind of push the rock up the hill for Classified Staff Development Day this year, and it was wonderful. Going back, what he was referring to of the guacamole was actually a huge team building exercise. It was sort of a chopped competition. And not only did they have to win their ingredients, but they also had to sell their ingredients or sell their guacamole and market. So everybody had to work together, and then they had to go present why their guacamole was the best. And then afterwards, they had other team building exercises for the rest of the day. And even the event planner has never experienced or seen such participation and such enthusiasm for everything that they put together. I was told by several people how much fun they had with our group, which was really exciting. And so I want to thank Dr. Bouguet and Scott for their participation. They really made it fun. And we're working on putting together more professional development exercises for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Thank you. So chopped without getting chopped.
Yeah, exactly.
That's better team building. Okay. CSEA President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to echo the sentiments of President Martin and Dr. Bouguet on the Classified Development Classified Day. It was very, very well attended, and the participation was really very well done. And we really had a good time, and got a lot of good comments about the team activity and the team building, and really the classified staff getting to know one another who normally they don't get a chance to work with one another. So it's really good. And I wanted to acknowledge the Classified Staff Development Committee with President Martin and many of the members across the campuses that actually put this together. They did a very good job. And we really, really enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to next year as well. Also wanted to thank the managers and the college administration officers for attending, and Dr. Wright, we saw him there as well. So they got a chance to intermingle with the classified staff and see, how teamwork is done by our staff on a very, relaxed environment. Coming up soon, we're going to be having our selection of delegates for the upcoming CSCA conference, which is the beginning of August, and we'll hold that election next month. Thank you.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the meeting. We're now adjourned. Have a great night, everybody.